Hi, this is Erica with the Poindexter Real Estate Group, and we are on episode 8 of Leaving California. Today, I am talking to Lori Sinclair in Seattle. She's a managing broker of Bainbridge Homes Real Estate on Bainbridge Island. We've had a little time to chat and talk about Seattle, and I'm super excited to be able to share with all of you what I've learned and be able to offer you a referral partner in the area if you're thinking about leaving California and moving to the Seattle area. So thank you so much, Lori, for being with me, and tell us a little bit about you and what brought you to Seattle.
Well, Erica, thanks for having me on. I'm really excited to talk to you and talk to all of your viewers. So I actually moved up here to beautiful Bainbridge Island a year ago from Houston, Texas. My husband and I had owned a business there in Houston, and we sold that and wanted a change of lifestyle, but still wanted access to city amenities. And we had visited up here and just fell in love with the natural beauty and the people and sense of community. So that became our dream. We moved up here last year, and I went back to real estate right away. I have been a licensed real estate agent for over 22 years. I practiced in Texas for a number of years before we started our company. But then I took a little break while I ran that. So now I'm here back in real estate, and so excited to be here and be with you. So
Tell me a little bit. I know I'll pull up the map. So what we talked about a little bit was that I think people forget what the Seattle region really looks like. You're talking about a group of islands-ish, right? And here, let me get it up. And then you can kind of explain to, everybody how Seattle works, because there's a lot of water and we don't really have that. We don't really have anything like that here to compare to. So what would be like the lifestyle of living like that?
Well, there are several islands. Seattle itself does kind of feel like an island, but it's more just surrounded by water between the Puget Sound and then Lake Washington and Lake Union. It's got a lot of water around it, as you can see, and we are connected. I'm across the sound on the western side on Bainbridge Island, and we're connected. The western side is connected to the Seattle side through a series of ferry routes. Really, you can see the little numbers there on the map in the middle of the water. Yeah, that's the highways continuing through the water on the ferry. So that's a little confusing for some people at first, but really it's really convenient. Where I am here on Bainbridge, we are in just an incredible natural setting. We do have a more, downtown area that is a higher density, but most of the island, are 1 unit per acre or 1 unit per 2.5 acres. So, a lot of the homes here on the island have acreage with them, and you're just a 35-minute ferry ride from downtown Seattle and everything that the city provides. So we do have a lot of commuters here on the island, as well as throughout the western region.
And we talked about this for a little bit before we got started, but was public transportation. So California has always been fighting about the fact that we really don't have a good public transportation system. Sacramento tries. I mean, we do have a light rail that goes to a couple of main areas and through the downtown, but you really can't get from somewhere rural to a city center public transportation very well here. And I thought that was really cool that you could just get on the ferry, get to Seattle, and then be able to use the systems there to get around without a car.
Absolutely, you can. We have a very robust public transportation system, both on the Seattle side as well as on the Western Sound side. Here on the island, even there's basically on-demand public transportation. I mean, I could call our bus service, and they would send a bus to pick me up, basically, which is pretty phenomenal, and take me to the ferry or what have you. It's really amazing, but you can very easily get around Seattle without having a car, for sure.
That's really cool. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple of properties. And again, if you guys haven't been watching the series, the median home price in Placer County is about $500,000. So I use that median in the regions that I go to kind of make a comparison on what you can buy for the money. Seattle's actually significantly more expensive than it is here, but you're trading a lifestyle, and I think that that's important to remember, is that this isn't like, we're not moving to Washington necessarily to buy a less expensive property. We might be doing this for a lifestyle change, or like we talked about before, maybe you work in the tech industry in the Bay Area and you want to continue in that industry, but you want a rural lifestyle along with it. You can be on the Bainbridge Island and commute right over to Seattle to your job if your job actually is open. So let me pull up this condo. Let's see, make sure I can see it. Okay. So this condo is in Seattle City proper.
Yeah.
And you're looking at, let me go back, 519,500. Sorry, sneeze. And tell me a little bit about like the lifestyle of living in Seattle and why somebody would choose maybe like downtown Seattle living over something more rural.
Well, I think that it goes to, that city life. If you're in downtown Seattle, you're going to have easy access to the waterfront with, all of the activities there. We've got the aquarium there, as well as restaurants and shops. You'll have easy access to Pike Place Market, as well as to all of the entertainment and activities available in downtown Seattle. And it's really easy to walk Seattle. It's very much a pedestrian city. So you can walk to get to everything that you need, whether it be restaurants or grocery stores or, entertainment.
And something like this with the amenities that they're showing, let me get back to them.
Yeah, this condo has some great views and it's located near the water. It's just really lovely.
And is that pretty much what you can expect for the price, is being able to have like that kind of a view, really good amenities, and it's not super updated, but it is up to date. It doesn't look like it needs a lot of work. Is that pretty average for what a condo might be
for
there?
That size. One thing to note about Seattle is, where home inventory for single family residences right now we're talking weeks, and that's true throughout the region, whether it be on the eastern side of the Sound or the western. We're looking at roughly 3 weeks plus or minus inventory for single family homes. But the condo market is a little bit of an exception in Seattle. Right now, you're looking at more like 2 months for, the length of time that they're on the market. And they've got, a much higher supply of inventory. So it is much easier to find a nice condo such as this one in Seattle than it would be to find a single family residence in that same price range.
And how are the HOAs in a condo like that? I can't see them from my side, but are a couple $100, a few $100? Is it a pretty big range? I mean, here sometimes the HOA dues can be $250, and then sometimes they can be $500 a month, and it really just depends on where you're at.
Yeah, it really can depend on the building amenities and what, all is included. So it goes into that wide range.
Okay. Okay, so our next one, we're going into Bainbridge Island, which is your primary service area. and we're getting into another condo, and this condo is 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a little bit bigger than the city condo for the same
Mhm.
price.
Yeah.
But you were saying the median house price on the island is about $1 million.
That's right. The median
Okay.
house price is a little bit over $1 million. And again, inventory is super low, about roughly 3 weeks inventory
And
right
remember, with that million, though, you're getting acreage most likely, unless you're choosing to
now.
go for the condo or something like that. So you're not talking
That's right.
about, in San Jose, that million's going to get you 1,500 square feet in a neighborhood where that you
Yeah.
can transfer that to something like this on Bainbridge Island, and have that different lifestyle change with that 35-minute ferry ride to Seattle. So that's what
That
I think is pretty cool.
That's right. And what's really interesting about the island is we have that, downtown, like I said, which is where this condo is in Winslow. And if you're going to stick in that, little 1 mile radius close to the ferry terminal, or 2 mile radius close to the ferry terminal, you're going to pay a little bit more for a single family house, and get less land. So that $1 million, if you're in downtown Winslow, and that's a good little overview map. That's what we call our Winslow is what
Yeah.
we call our downtown area. A single family home there, $1 million, and you're going to be on like a 6 or 7,000 square foot lot, right? Where if you move just a little bit out of that, $1 million will get you, half an acre. It can vary greatly depending on the zoning location. Close to the coastal areas tend to have a higher density, and the more inland you get from the coast, you get the bigger lots. Like the 2.5 acres are in the center. The 1 acres tend to be more along, the edges, and then the half acres are really, right on the edge, the coastline.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, and this one comes with parking and a garage. This is so pretty. See, this is where we get to see a little bit about like I like when agents do some good drone shots. Like I love it here because it's great to see like exactly what the landscape
Yeah.
looks like around the property, right? Sometimes just a straight on shot doesn't really give you a good idea of what you're buying.
Yeah, that's true.
So with this, so with the water, is there recreation or swimming areas, or what's that like in the summertime? Or am I just like California, so every water is swimming for me?
No, people do go swimming in the Sound in the summer. There is a lot of boating, sailboats as well as motorboats, but sailing is very popular. And swimming, the Sound is cold, but you do see people swimming in the water. I have not been
Uh,
brave enough yet,
Even in the summer, it's pretty cold.
The former Houstonian thinks that water is cold.
Well, yeah, because you move from, 100 plus heat, right? And then you go
That's
into
right.
Seattle and you're getting a completely different climate.
Yeah.
I know my cousin lives in Seattle, and I remember them getting snow last winter, and it was a big deal. And I know it doesn't snow as often in Seattle, but sometimes more than Houston, probably.
Definitely more than Houston. Yeah, that snow was fun for my kids last year. For sure.
So now okay, you're going to have to help me say this.
Squamish.
Okay, in
Yeah.
Squaming. So we're at 424,950. We're just $10,000 over what we were at before. And now we're getting 3 beds, 2.5 baths, 2,400 square feet. This is probably comparable to something that you would find here in the rural areas, price point wise as well. So this is a good like for like almost.
Yeah, I pulled this one in. I thought it was important to show that you can get, for 500,000, a nice family home. There's things that could be improved on in this property, but you've got a great water view. This one is just across the bridge from Bainbridge Island on to the Kitsap Peninsula side. So you've got about a 20-minute drive, maybe even 15-minute drive to the ferry if you're commuting into downtown Seattle, then a 35-minute ferry ride across. But certainly, the property has some great views, and it's a nice size home for a family.
And what we talked about too with the ferry ride is it's a little bit different than commuting in a car. You're not paying attention. You're not trying to avoid, you're able to relax a little bit in that 35 minutes, read a book, right, look at your phone, get some work done. So it's a totally different commute feeling. So your 15 minutes to the ferry is your only drive time. And then the rest of that can be used for something else. Right. And big old slope lot down the hill, but there's a view to some water.
Yeah.
And that is what water is that?
That is the Puget Sound, and okay, that area is called Agate Pass. So that's in the Agate Pass area of the Sound.
And what was I going to ask? I had a thought. Oh no, I don't remember. Oh well. This is pretty. This is pretty, but you can't there's houses closer to the water in there, so there's access somewhere else. But yeah, the view is amazing.
Yeah. And you can get a waterfront in that area. A waterfront property, a nice waterfront property, would be closer to $1 million, maybe 1.2. There was a house on the market here over the summer that even had a swimming pool overlooking the water, and it was about 1.3, if I'm remembering correctly, which is great. I mean, you got a pool as well as the waterfront.
Yeah, and are pools pretty popular in Seattle, or is it kind of I mean, I would think
they're popular. They're unique. They're unique.
Because I'm you have quite a few, a lot less swimming days than we have, I would think. And yeah. Even I was looking at putting a pool in our house, and I'm yeah, but that's, a lot of money for 6 months out of the year being able to use it. So I would imagine that with shorter summer, hot times, you really don't use it as often. If you're a family and you are living in a house like this, and we had talked a little bit beforehand about recreation opportunities and what kind of recreation is available, and how far is that away from this house?
Yeah, there's a ton of recreation locally. The trail system is just amazing. It's parks everywhere, both here on the island and throughout Kitsap County, and as well as throughout Seattle in general. There are tremendous parks for hiking, for mountain biking. There's several places where you can access the water to go kayaking and boating. So water activity is certainly, accessible easily without, having to go very far, 5-10 minutes max to get access to those things. Now, if you want to go hiking in the mountains, we are about an hour and a half drive from Olympic National Park. So you can be in the Olympic Mountains within an hour and a half. If you want to go the other way and maybe go to Mount Rainier, Mount Rainier is a little bit further. I'm going to say it's closer to an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to Mount Rainier. It looks really close. But it's not.
And it's still not that far. Skiing, snowboarding, snow, all up either way.
Yeah, there's skiing available at Olympic National Park as well as at Mount Rainier and the Cascades. Stevens Pass is a popular skiing area, and I think that's about an hour and a half drive from here. Via ferry, you have to take the ferry, but because it's on that side.
And I'm not, I live an hour and a half from Tahoe and I don't like the snow. So I'm like always I'm like, I will go up to Tahoe and see the snow from inside a cabin with a fire and a hot chocolate. I am not a skier, but I know a lot of people that watch this for me are, and they always want to know this stuff. So I ask because I'm like, well, somebody wants to know, but it's not me.
Yeah.
Uh, so this last one, this is in Bremerton, and this is a new build. Looks like 519, 950. This is the
Yeah.
base price probably, so it might be a little bit more with some upgrades, or is that how it works there? Same as here?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. The nice thing about Bremerton, the reason I wanted to include this property, I wanted to show that you can get a nice new construction home for about that 500,000 price tag and still have really quick and easy access to downtown Seattle. Bremerton has a walk-on foot ferry, a fast ferry across straight into downtown. So if you're working downtown in Seattle, you can easily jump on that ferry and get across in about half an hour or so to downtown Seattle. It also has a drive-on ferry, but that foot ferry, that fast ferry, has really kind of changed the real estate market for Bremerton and made it much more of an accessible commute because the Bremerton ferry takes a little bit longer. It's closer to an hour. And so now with that fast ferry, you're seeing a lot more people move into the Bremerton area. It's a great opportunity to buy in an appreciating market, and to get in at, a nice price point.
So that ferry is this 304, but there's two that
Yeah,
run along that. That's going to be the foot ferry and one that is
that's
put your
right.
vehicle on.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to know how you put your vehicle on a ferry. Like, how does that even work? Because
Yeah, it's big, wide, and open, and you just drive on.
and you just like drive on and like go in a parking spot and like wait
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
across.
All the cars are in a line. There's two lines that go to the side, and you can go up at the side as well. So on the sides, it's two levels of cars, and then in the bottom, you just drive in the middle, and there's like 3 or 4 lanes of cars in the middle, and you just drive in and stop when you get to the end, or you get to the car in front of you.
It like, did it freak you out the first time you ever did it? I would think I would be a little like, I'm driving a car on a boat. Like,
Yeah, it was I can't say that the first time I did the driving on, because probably the first time I was on, my husband was probably driving. Um, but I didn't really think about it, honestly.
I think
When,
about weird stuff.
yeah, honestly, I think maybe because I've been on it before, I didn't think much about it. But
I
yeah,
know
just drive.
I've got family that moved up that way. I don't know, it's got to be about 4 or 5 years now, and just we haven't gone to visit, and we got to do it. It's so beautiful, and it's so different than what we've got going on in California. I've been doing this series for 8 weeks, and I've got a huge list of places now that I want to travel as soon as this is over because it's been a lot of fun getting to know the regions. And I think that Seattle is a great opportunity for people in California who want access to a city, but maybe don't want to have that, city lifestyle. And so I appreciate your time today. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you guys are watching and you guys want any more information about moving to Seattle, please reach out to me. I will connect you to Lori. She'd be happy to help give you a little insight about what it's like to live on Bainbridge Island and the Seattle area. So once again, Lori, thank you so much. And I look forward to working with you soon.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye.